Hey everybody, thank you for watching this presentation called A View from the Shore, AMDA Collaborations at Arnold's Bay and Beyond. In this presentation we're going to discuss advanced metal detecting for the Archaeologist and our collaboration with the Lake Champlain Maritime Museum on their Arnold's Bay project last fall. The site was the escape route for Benedict Arnold after his retreat down Lake Champlain after the Battle of Valcour Bay from October 11th to the 13th, 1776. And as you can see from the image, it's quite a beautiful site to work. Advanced metal detecting for the archaeologist. Who are we? We're a group of professionals who take some time out of our lives and we go out and we train archaeologists in the proper use of metal detection for archaeological projects, training in the proper use of methodology for metal detection on archaeological projects, best practices for professional archaeologists, and we are an RPA certified course giving 24 credits under their continuing professional education program. So the history of AMDA. The AMDA class was born in 2011. A group of archaeologists got together and recognized the need to teach best practices in metal detecting to archaeologists. We saw that professional archaeologists were finally accepting that metal detecting was a valuable tool, but had no good source of instruction. But prior to this time and still today, we see issues with archaeologists not liking metal detectors because they're used by relic hunters, but they're an important tool for battlefields and other projects where you're looking for metal. The first class was in 2011 in Helen, Georgia. And based on the response to the event, RPA certified the course for continuing education, and we decided to focus solely on instruction. After formalization of the instructor core, the course offerings were certified by RPA, and we are the first continuing education course to receive this certification. AMDA training, what we do is we teach specific objectives, gain an understanding of how metal detecting works, learn through case studies the range of resources and types that can be effectively examined through metal detecting, learn how to maximize the data return from metal detecting efforts, and one of the important ones is to gain a familiarity with the various machines that are available, strengths, weaknesses, and price points. That way students can try out a bunch of different machines and they can kind of learn from that and take back to their company the different experiences they've had with different equipment and hopefully pick up what they need to do the job properly for them. We also provide a lot of reference material, and we take them out in the field and they get to work on the proper methodologies involved in metal detecting. So the course usually starts with classroom time, and what we do is we set up a classroom with slides to discuss important information from metal detector surveys, the history of metal detectors, proper planning, budgeting for those that need to understand how to budget a project. We go through the different types of equipment, how to record finds, field layout, recon and research before a project. And then what we try to do is get outside. We put some material on the ground so that people can start to get used to the equipment and the different readings that they get from different types of materials. So past AMDA courses, we've had them pretty much all over the country. We've done 15 so far. Helen, Georgia would be the first one, Charlestown Landing, South Carolina, Winchester, Virginia, Stone Mountain, Georgia, Palo Alto, Texas, Kennesaw, Georgia, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Pensacola, Florida, Fort Necessity in Pennsylvania, Buffalo, Wyoming, Bennington, Vermont, Sirocco, New Mexico, Carlsbad, New Mexico, Charleston, South Carolina, and at Arnold Bay, Vermont. We also volunteer on other projects and help out where needed, which is great for us also as we get to continue on our experience. We bring equipment skills to volunteer on other projects. We've done volunteer work at Minuteman National Historical Park, Massachusetts, Saratoga, New York, twice working with the Northeast Archaeological Resources Program and American Veteran Archaeological Recovery there. We've worked at Gettysburg, Little Round Top pre and post burn, and done some work on Culp's Hill. Johnstown flood site in Pennsylvania, and recently at Sagamore Hill in New York, looking for Theodore Roosevelt's gun range. We also have a lot of our own projects, research projects going, a lot at the same time, including live fire ballistics study of arms from the American Revolution through the Civil War, ballistics, bullet strike study. We're currently doing a research project on all known bullet strikes that remain from April 19th in structures and objects. And one of the instructors now is working on a chapter for a book on history of conflict archaeology. So now we can talk about Arnold's Bay a bit and the class that we did up there. We first met about this at the Society for Historical Archaeology conference in Boston, and we decided we would work on this program, team up with Lake Champlain Maritime Museum, and then COVID hit and we ended up being delayed until the fall of 2021. But we were finally able to get out into the field and look at the project and do some research. So on August 27th, 28th, 2021, a group of us went up to Arnold Bay, met up with the Lake Champlain Maritime Museum folks, and we went out on a recon to see what type of material we were going to find for the AMDA class. We went out into the water a little bit, and the beach, and a plateau up above where the troops retreated through after coming ashore at the beach. And this gave us an idea of what would be found in the ground. It also gave us the lay of the land so that we could gain some ideas on how we were going to lay out the grids in the field when we actually did the project. So the recon, during the recon, we did find some period items. Like I mentioned, we found a bayonet scabbard hook that had popped off of the bayonet scabbard in the water. We found some musket balls and a piece of a broken cast iron pot that might have come back off of the Congress, along with some large and small spikes that may have come from the boat also, and trash. So on October 1st through the 3rd, 2021, we were finally able to hold the course. And we started in the classroom, which is what we normally do. However, we had bad weather coming in. So we went through some basics in the classroom, and we had to shift our schedule a little bit so that we could get out into the field, and we figured we would put some of the classes in when the weather was bad. So Friday, a little bit of classroom time in the morning, and then directly out into the field as it was a beautiful day and we knew that it was going to be pouring fairly soon. So we got into the field that first day, right after a few classroom training sessions, to try and get folks used to using the equipment. We had grids set up for them to work up above on the plateau near the Ferris House site. We also worked down on the shoreline and into the water. We had some folks go out a few feet into the water, and we covered the beach to a rise up to the plateau. And we found some interesting things that helped us gain a clearer idea of what happened there in October 76, as well as the land use after that incident. So what did we find in the field? We found musket balls of various caliber. We found buttons, some iron case shot that had probably been fired by the British, lead flint wrapper, and iron spikes, pot fragments. And we also found a lot of crap. But you know, when we're teaching these courses, it's the trash that's found is also important in understanding equipment, understanding the different tones that the machines make for ferrous and non-ferrous material. So actually the trash on a site is a great tool for training purposes. And after we had finished the project, and of course, we had such a great time that we continued to do some research to share with Lake Champlain Maritime Museum on some of the material culture that might be found on the land and on the bottom as the project continues. And although not all of the sailors that were on the boats were from Massachusetts, some of them were, and if they lost something, they could turn in a petition to the state for monies for the things they lost. And in this petition, John Fulton was on board one of the rogue galleys, and he lost his gun was destroyed by a cannonball. And I know that on some of these sites, some gun parts have been found, and sometimes these petitions can be very helpful in explaining some of the material that's being found either on the bottom of the lake or on land. And I'll end with this petition from Benjamin Berry. He was a soldier from Sudbury, Massachusetts, and like many of the soldiers that were put on board the boats, they were actually at Ticonderoga in the Army, but they were plucked out to be put into the Navy. Benjamin Berry was from the detachment and the brigade to serve aboard the fleet under the command of General Arnold, and was wounded in the engagement on the lake on board the rogue galley Congress, which sits right off the shore of Arnold's Bay. And he lost his left arm by a cannonball and sundry articles of arms and clothing, which he put on the list. And an interesting story with Berry is he went on and continued on even with one arm, guarding stores in Concord and Sudbury, Massachusetts in 78 and 79. And with it, the second page of the petition, it lists everything that he lost with a price next to it. A gun and bayonet, blanket, coats and jackets, shirts, a hat, stockings, shoes, silk handkerchief, and a cotton handkerchief. And some of these things, the shoes and shoe buckles that are listed in some of these petitions, are what's being found on the bottom and on the shoreline. So sometimes doing a little bit of historical research into some of these petitions can actually be very helpful to understanding some of the finds that you're getting. And we get this great picture of Happy Joe Balicki, which we don't often see. We want to say thank you to all those involved in the project, American Battlefield Protection Program, Lake Champlain Maritime Museum, Register of Professional Archaeologists, fellow colleagues at Advanced Metal Detecting for the Archaeologist, Chris, Cher, and Ed from Lake Champlain, who are great to work with, and obviously all of those who participated in the class. We've got a couple others coming up, one in June at Valley Forge, with a couple more planned for fall and into 2023. So hopefully we'll see you at one of the classes sometime. Thank you for watching.